Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 54 of the NordCast. It is Thursday, May 9th, 2024. I am your host here, Nordic97, joined with Carter. How are we doing today, Carter?
We're doing pretty good. I'm very orange for some reason. So, video listeners, I am sorry. You do not get to embrace on the pure form of my hideousness. But it's okay. Maybe we'll be back soon. I feel like it's these lights up here. I've just clocked this. These lights are not like white lights. I think I got to change these fucking lights because now that I've noticed this, it's pissing me off. So we're going to get on that for next episode.
Yeah, he's been spending the past, I think, like 10 minutes trying to change the lighting because he looks like Donald Trump right now. That's fun.
Guys,
we're also joined here with Jack.
What's up? What's up?
Carter, do you have anything else to say about your lights?
Nah, I just pretty much made it look like I was in a drug house because I hung up my fucking bed sheet up on that back windowsill there. They can attest to it. This was it looked so ghetto. I'm not even gonna lie. It looked fucked. But anyways, hi Jack.
Hey.
Oh my lord! All right, so we're past the first round of the playoffs. The last episode we made was actually 2 weeks ago. Now I'd like to apologize. We did make an episode last week, but then it got corrupt. Not going to specify who, but it was the guy.
Hey, that's on me, guys. That's on me. I take full responsibility. I should not have tried to record while on a fucking cruise ship.
Yep,
the Wi-Fi there is not very good, so I take full account, full responsibility there. That's on me. Won't happen again.
He also almost dropped his phone into the water, so that was.
Okay, that's not true. That's not true.
May have been true, may have not been true, but regardless, we're in the second round of the playoffs now. The second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are underway. There are now 8 teams remaining. All of the first round series have concluded. We'll be making a certain podcast episode at some point talking about all the teams that have been eliminated and such, going through the state of every team. But that's for another episode. We're going to preview the second rounds here today. Now, we're kind of in a weird spot because a lot of them have already started. Game 3 for some of the games is tonight, so we're in a little bit of a weird spot here. But regardless, we're just going to get straight into it. We'll start off with Boston and Florida. That series is tied at 1. Boston took the first game 5-1. Florida took the second game 6-1. It was made pretty clear in the second game of the series, and even the first game too, that these teams hate each other. It is undisputed. There were a lot of fights, especially in that third period of game 2. I think Boston racked up like 78 penalty minutes. Yeah, there was a lot of that. So, first off, I think we should get into predictions before we go into overall thoughts on this series. So, what was your guys' prediction for Boston, Florida? I'll let Carter go first.
Well, I didn't have this in my bracket, but I think I'd take Florida here. I think that, after making it to the Cup final the previous year, seeing how they kind of manhandled Tampa Bay, again, there just didn't look like any stopping this team. Obviously, they got stopped in Game 1. Not exactly what I was expecting, honestly. Especially, Game 1 in Florida, especially after Boston just went to 7 and Florida was kind of through 5. I didn't expect them to lose that one, but they did. They bounced back though heavily in Game 2 there. Definitely a great showing, a great sign for the rest of that series there. So it doesn't always matter who wins the first one; it always matters who wins the last one. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I had Florida in 6. I just look at Boston like I don't think they're a bad team, but I feel like them beating Toronto. I mean, yeah, they beat Toronto, but then again, it's Toronto. Like they lose in the first round a lot. They're playing a really solid, an amazing team here that made the Cup Finals last year. So I had Florida in 6, but obviously the series is tied at 1. So it could really go anywhere from here. Jack, what was your prediction? I know you actually are having a perfect playoffs right now. You went 8 for 8 in your predictions. So
yeah,
Jack, what is your prediction?
Yeah. Well, obviously I have Boston as my champ, so I'm taking them, and I'm gonna say 6 games. I think I put on the NHL.com bracket. I think I put 6 games. But yeah, Boston obviously won Game 1, and then Game 2 they scored the first goal of the game. I believe it was that in the first or second period? I think it was pretty early.
I believe the second.
Yeah. So they score the first goal, and I'm like, oh gosh, Boston may manhandle these guys, but Florida obviously scores 6 unanswered. And Florida is still such a good team. Just their offense is just all four lines will go at you so hard, and they're just like always net front presence. Like 2 or 3 guys, I feel like are always in front of the net, and yeah, such a lethal offense. And obviously Stolar's in goal. So
Yeah, Anthony Stolarz, the GOAT, has been
yeah,
warming up the bench for the Florida
yeah,
Panthers.
that's right. That's right.
There have
Someone's
been
gonna get
plenty
those
of
waters
players.
going.
Yeah, he's got to fill those waters, which is what I've done for years. There's plenty of players on that Florida roster that have been scoring a lot. You don't have one specific guy that's playing really well. You got Barkov and Kachuk collectively leading this team with 10 points. Kachuk obviously has been just Mr. Clutch. Even last year, he was insane. Barkov having another really good playoffs, too. Carter Verhaeghe, he's one of the more X Factor underrated players. This man can score any overtime goal you give him. Like him and Kachuk are probably the most clutch players of the playoffs in the last couple of years. Other guys too, you got Sam Reinhart, not having a underwhelming playoffs, but definitely not having a playoffs like he had in the regular season. He has 7 points. And then as well as that too, you also have Brandon Montour, who has 6 points. So there are guys in this team that are playing very well. In terms of goalies, I believe Bobrovsky's played the entire time, unfortunately, for Stolarz. But I believe Bobrovsky is that leading goalie. I'm trying to find his stats here real quick. Bobrovsky has a 2.71 goals against average overall through these first couple of rounds. I don't know. We'll see. It could get pretty interesting here from here on out. But regardless, this should be a very fun series to go into. So we'll transition over to Rangers and Hurricanes. Now, game 3 is currently going on. It's 1-1 in the second period. The Rangers are up 2-0 in this series. They have won every game in the playoffs so far. And if they win tonight, they take a commanding 3-0 series lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. So first off, what is your guys' predictions initially on this series? It might have changed since the Rangers are up 2-0, but what is your predictions here?
I had the Rangers in 6. Yeah, obviously, as you mentioned, haven't lost a game. They've just been so dominant. And I know Washington isn't a great team, but it's still the playoffs. Very impressive to sweep a team, and especially in the fashion that they did it. And yeah, I mean, they beat Carolina twice already, and Cryer just scored a tying goal here. So the Rangers looking good. I'm sure their fans are on top of the world right now because they look like such a good team right now.
I don't know. I do know, but I mean they look like they could be a team that like honestly could win the Stanley Cup. I mean, I doubted them a lot of the year. I didn't like the 5v5 numbers. I felt like they relied on Georgiev, Shesterkin too much. And I just wasn't too reliable on this Rangers team, but now I'm kind of starting to believe maybe they can go far. But obviously, they're still a ways away. Even if they beat Carolina, they got to play Florida, and then obviously whoever wins the West. But overall, I had Hurricanes in 7. I might change to Rangers in 5, though, honestly, because the Rangers, I don't know if they've manhandled the Hurricanes because Game 2 was really close, but
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like they have control now in this series. So, Carter, what is your overall prediction on this series, or what was your initial one?
Well, I feel like my initial one would have been Carolina, in probably 6 or 7. Really, I do think it's still possible. I don't think Carolina's out of this series too much. I think every game has been very, very close, especially game 2. Like that game, double overtime, just unlucky for them there. I was watching it with a couple buddies, and that one kind of stung because I was really hoping for Carolina to pull through there. But again, it's really hard to win on the road, especially in the playoffs, and especially in a building like Madison Square Garden. It's a hard building to win in. So obviously, going down 2-0 is kind of a scare. But I mean, when you got to do it against the number 1 team in the league, it's kind of expected. But they still do have a great home crowd there in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I do expect them to at least get these next 2. Hopefully, they can steal one in on the road there. But I mean, it's not super expected. But I think I'm going to stick with Carolina in 7. But I could definitely see the Rangers closing this one out early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like we talk about how the Rangers have been playing really well. It really, like, honestly, it's not like the Rangers have dominated the Canes. in this game right now, the Hurricanes are out shooting the Rangers 29-18 currently. And in the last game, the Hurricanes heavily outshot the Rangers, but Shesterkin kept them in it. That was the biggest thing that the Rangers have is Shesterkin. They have that goalie that can just shut down, and that's what Shesterkin's been in these first 2 games of the playoffs. So unbelievable playoff run so far for Shesterkin, honestly making himself a pretty good case for the Calder Trophy. For the Conn Smythe Trophy if the Rangers win the Cup. Man, I'm a mess today. Anywho, moving into the second round series, we have the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Currently, the Avalanche have a 1-0 series lead. At the time after this podcast is uploaded, they will have played game 2. So whether it's 1-1 or 2-0 Colorado, what was your guys' predictions on this series, and who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I got Colorado. I'm gonna say Colorado in 6. I think I've done all my series so far in 6. But yeah, I'll take Colorado in 6. Just ever since they went down 3-0 in game 1, it was like, holy crap, they just took over this game. And then obviously winning it in overtime. But yeah, that's a pivotal collapse for Dallas there. That was bad. You need to take game 1 against this Avalanche team who has so much experience in the playoffs. And just very, very bad.
Don't. You don't need to take. I mean, you don't need to take game 1. Just look at the Jets.
The Jets.
Jets are a different example, Carter.
I guess that's a good example, but yeah. Anyways, Colorado's they're such a good team still. So yeah, especially when you're up 3-0, that just has to sting so bad. But yeah, I'll take Colorado in 6.
Yeah, I feel like the Avalanche, they look like that team that won 2 years ago. Even with Georgiev and that, they still look like that team.
Absolutely.
Now, I doubted Colorado even heading into the second round because I said that, they beat Winnipeg, but Winnipeg played horrible defensively. Hellebuck didn't have that great of a series either. So, above all, I thought that with Dallas having a much better defensive rounded team, they have more offense than Winnipeg. I felt like they could beat Colorado. I still think it'd be a 7-game series, but I felt like they could beat Colorado. After that first game, though, I don't know. But it's only game 1. And Dallas has been down in a series before. I am sticking with my Dallas in 7 prediction. I had that for Dallas Vegas. That went right for me, but I'm going Dallas in 7 here yet again. Carter, who do you have winning this series?
That was horrible for the Dallas Stars. I know that Jack already touched base on it. You got to win game 1 at home. I think no matter what, if you don't win game 1, you have to at least make sure that it is like a back and forth game. That was not a back and forth game. That was all Dallas, then it was all Colorado, and that was it. You can't lose a game like that, especially at home. Especially not at home. You can't do that. That's one that's going to tarnish the comfortness of your fans. It's going to give Colorado a whole lot of energy, being like, "Hey, we've come back down 3 before. Like, this is nothing. Like, we can come back down 2, and it's just going to give them energy. It's going to tarnish your guys' energy because you're going to be like, we're up 3 goals. Like, we gotta play fully defensive. And then you sit back, and then something's going to happen because if you sit back, you're just going to give that first line, that first offense and first D pairing line a chance to have more space. That's not something you want to do. So really, they gotta start figuring it out. But that's not the start you want to have, especially against a team like Colorado.
Did you say your prediction?
I did not, but I really want to say Dallas in 6, but right now Colorado is just unstoppable. So I am going to take Colorado in 5. No, in 6. Sorry, in 6.
Okay. All right, in 6. All right, I can get behind that. I think Colorado can very well win this series. I'm sticking with my Dallas prediction, but I think if Colorado wins tonight, chances are they could beat Dallas in 6. But I don't know if Dallas is going to roll over that easily, especially when you got players who are young and old that are contributing. One thing that I do want to keep in mind, though, Rupe Hintz and Joe Pavelski collectively have a combined amount of 2 points. Now, it wasn't a concern when they were beating Vegas, but when you're looking for players to show up, and I know we're not talking about Toronto yet, But when you're looking at players to show up, you need guys like Pavelski. You need guys like Rupe Hintz to show up when it matters. If this team's going to beat Colorado, that needs to happen. If it doesn't happen, then I can't see it. But obviously, there's a lot of time left in that series, and we shall find out what exactly is going to go on from there. So moving on to the final series in the Western Conference, you have the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Man, game one was one hell of a game. Vancouver came back from down 4-1 in the third period to win the game 5-4 to take a 1-0 lead. So what was your guys' initial prediction? And yeah, who do you want to win?
I have Vancouver in 7 and eventually going on to my finals. I went to bed when it was 4-1 Edmonton. After they scored, I think it was 2 goals in 45 seconds. I was like, yeah, this game's over. And then I wake up in the middle of the night. I check the score, and I'm like, what the hell happened? It was kind of like the Stars collapse. I mean, what was it? 3 goals in under 5 minutes, I think. Late in the game, like under 10 minutes to go, I believe. So that's another one where like you have to take that game if you're Edmonton. Just this team needs to just make a deep run with 2 top 5 players in the league. It's about time you make a run. And yeah, you need to beat this Canucks team who literally has no goalie right now. So,
man, have we doubted Artur Shilovs? That man has risen up the Conn Smythe list.
Yeah.
He's flying up the rankings right now. He's had an unbelievable playoffs. Even against Nashville, he played really well. But in that game, I understand that he let in like 4 goals on 14 shots. But man, and like the thing is too is that Vancouver outplayed Edmonton in that game. Edmonton had no business being up 4-1 in that game. So it's overall a really disappointing loss for the Oilers. I think they can still definitely come back. I have Oilers in 6, but I don't know. If we see another game like that and Vancouver goes up 2-0 tomorrow, I think there's a really good chance that Vancouver could take this series in 5. It's actually very possible. And I'm not too keen on Edmonton's goaltending either. I'm not too keen on Skinner. So, Carter, what was your prediction for this series?
My prediction was Edmonton in 7. I really haven't been a fan of Vancouver. They haven't really shown that much to me. They got off really hot, and then it seemed like they almost cooled down a little bit. You and I both had them losing to Nashville, and I think that was kind of unexpected for us. But they did. Nashville is a great team, so you can't even say they struggle against a bad team like Nashville. No, they played really good against a good team in the Nashville Predators. But I mean, they're facing a really good team in Edmonton too. They got some of the best players in the league. Zach Hyman has been on an absolute fucking roll lately. Like he's looked unreal as of late. So I don't know who's going to win the series. My prediction is going to be Edmonton, but I could very easily see this going to Vancouver in 7. I think this is going to come down to the last game, and it's going to come down to who's going to hold on to the lead longer. Because I think that blown leads are going to be a big thing in this series. So it's just going to come down to who can hold these 1 goal, 2 goal, somehow 3 goal lead.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that there's a very good chance that if Vancouver takes game 2, they could overall take full control of this series. I hope I'm wrong, but there's a very solid chance. So that's it for the rounds. That's it for the second rounds. I'm going to ask you guys this question. What is your guys' Stanley Cup final post second round? I know Jack stays the same, but what is your guys' Cup finals currently?
Go ahead, Carter.
Yeah. I really don't want to say my Cup final because they're going to get eliminated this round. So I'm like hella scared. My Cup final is going to be Edmonton-Boston. No, Edmonton-Florida. Sorry. What am I saying? What am I saying? Not Boston. I have Boston losing. I'm stupid. I'm taking. So Edmonton and Florida fans, I am sorry, but if you listen to me, last time one of the teams made the Stanley Cup final for my predictions after. So I'm not trying to say I'm good when it comes to the second round, but I'm pretty good when it comes to the second round.
All right, Jack. You said Boston, Vancouver, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I want to say Florida and I go with Colorado. Florida, Colorado, maybe. I don't know. I could see a mix of any Cup finals here. The thing that I'm happy with though is that we're gonna see a team that wins the Stanley Cup that hasn't won it in a hot minute. It's been a while for a lot of these teams. Besides the Avalanche won in
Yeah.
2022, but besides that, the most recent one was 2011. So there's
Wow.
a good chance here that we could see a team that hasn't won it in a while, or a team that hasn't won it ever. Vancouver,
That's sweet.
Florida, and Vancouver haven't won a cup. So that's the cool part. I like to see new teams win Stanley Cups, and I think that seeing any of these teams, like I would even be fine with Colorado. I'd be fine if they won the cup. I'm not against Colorado whatsoever. I know Carter is, but I'm not against Colorado whatsoever when it comes to that. But yeah, so that's the overall playoff preview for the first round. It's been a good 20 minutes there. I know it's going to take up a pretty large chunk of this time is our Toronto Maple Leafs talk. So the Maple Leafs lost in 7 games last Saturday, and just today they fired head coach Sheldon Keefe. And there's a lot of questions in regards to what the offseason could look like here. So I have some questions for the guys that I'm going to have them answer. So first off, what was your initial thoughts after Game 7 occurred? I'll start off with Carter, then we'll go to Jack.
My initial thoughts were this is the end of the core four. I think that no matter what, you got to move someone. And I think it's kind of settled that it has to be Mitch Marner. And again, I said this at the start of the year. Last year was your best chance to move him. His value was high. His value was through the roof. He actually performed pretty decently in playoffs as well. He at least looked pretty good. And they didn't move him because they assumed that they'd be able to get off of Nylander this year. But he just played too well to not be able to do it. I think if they would have had faith in Nylander, because obviously they did, because they didn't sign him, right? So obviously they had some sort of faith in him, but they didn't, and now they got to cough up a hefty paycheck to him, and they got to either roll with the core four for one more year, or they got to ship Mitch Marner off. So that is going to have to be option number one. That has to be your first priority. As soon as you get your coach, I don't care if it's, I want him to meet the team, let him assess everything. No. Mitch Marner, you want to get Tavares gone. I think that should be priority one, but it's not going to happen. You're going to have to cough up a first-round pick and some to get rid of him. So that's not going to happen. If it's possible, do it. But you're going to have to give up a hefty amount to try and get off that contract with John Tavares. So the most realistic number one is Mitch Marner. You got to get off of Mitch Marner. His value is lower than it was last year, so you're not going to be able to get the same amount for him. But you'll still be able to get in a nice players, few prospects, and some decent picks as well. Especially for a guy like Marner, who's, how old is he, like 25, 24?
I think he's 25, 26, somewhere around there.
Okay, so he's somewhere around there. Like he's nearing he's probably close to in his prime, if not in it right now. He's still going to be an elite player for the next 4 or 5 years, guaranteed, probably longer as well. So someone's going to have to take the bait on him because he's just too good of a player to pass up on. If the value, especially when his value is probably at an all-time low right now, other than probably within his first couple seasons, I don't think you'll get a lower value for Mitch Marner, especially that he's proven himself to be able to play those first-line minutes, to play in the National Hockey League, to be essentially an all-star. So, yeah.
Carter, before I go to Jack, would you want Mitch Marner on the Winnipeg Jets?
It depends on what we'd have to give up for him. I would love to see him on the Jets. I also don't know where he would have to fit, because I feel like we would have to give up. If we'd have to give up Cole Perfetti, I'm not doing that. As much as I love Mitch Marner, I don't want to give up Cole Perfetti. It's too early to give up on him. I don't know. He definitely slot in somewhere. I feel like maybe we'd have to give up Ehlers, which I would be okay with flipping Ehlers for Not Marner. We'd have to probably give up a defenseman too, so maybe Ville Heinola, Logan Stanley. But we have guys that we can slide in there too. If we got to give up Ehlers, I'd be okay with it. I don't want to give up Ehlers because he's a game changer. But Mitch Marner, Nikolai Ehlers, I'd make that deal.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's very obvious. Jack, what was your initial thoughts after Game 7? I got a follow-up question here for you afterwards.
Yeah. Just bad overall. I will say it was impressive for them to come back down 3-1 in the series without Matthews. I was very impressed with that and very surprised actually. But yeah, I didn't get to watch Game 7. I had no service. I was going down to cabins after prom, and but yeah, I see Boston in overtime, and I'm like, okay, they took it to overtime. I expected Boston to just kind of take that game away. But Matthews was back that game, and they only get one goal. And it's like you have four of the best well-rounded players in the entire NHL, like being offensive and defensive-minded players, and they just don't do anything with them every single year. They haven't gotten past the second round, and I think this definitely has to be the final year you keep all four together. It's definitely time to change some things up, so...
Jack, would you want Mitch Marner on the Chicago Blackhawks?
Absolutely.
You would want Mitch Marner to be playing on a wing with Connor Bedard?
Actually,
I don't hate that.
Is nasty.
I don't hate
that.
Nasty. That's a good idea. Ooh, man.
Put Demidov on the other wing?
God, I don't know. That would be a nasty forward core for the next couple years.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're giving up on the other way, though, but I think
we have so much draft capital. I think the Hawks might, look into that.
I mean, yeah, but then again, you got to think about it in terms of the whole future, not just the forward core. But I see where you're coming from there.
You like getting him at 26 years old. That's still good. Plus, he'd be a great line mate for Bedard, someone who's actually because right now he's playing with Foligno and
Kurashev.
Yeah, Kurashev. Yeah. You add a little bit more speed on there, that's a scary line. Plus, Mitch Marner, granted, he's not as good of a vet as Nick Foligno would be, but I think if you give him a little bit less of a vet and someone a little bit closer to his age, that's going to build some great chemistry too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, giving my overall thoughts, I have been stewing on this for the past week. I had to make a video today about Sheldon Keefe, and I have just been absolutely stewing on what's going to happen, what I want to happen, what I think's going to happen. One thing that I know for sure, and it's the general consensus amongst all Leaf fans I've seen, and not even just Leaf fans, but hockey fans, you can't run this back. You can't. You can't bring back the same three guys. You just can't. If they made the second round this year, if they beat Boston in 7 and they made the second round and they lost in 6, or they made it further than the second round, I think you can make an argument that they're making progress. They're moving forward. They're getting better and better every year. You can make that argument. And I don't know if I'd agree with you. I would have to see how the rest of the playoffs would play out had they beat Boston in overtime. But after that first round exit, it told me that they just can't. And it sucks for Sheldon Keefe because I think Sheldon Keefe has good capabilities as a coach. I think he's done good things. He's done bad things as a coach. I think if I'm the New Jersey Devils, I would love to have Sheldon Keefe, maybe even the Seattle Kraken too. I think he's a solid regular season coach. He's unproven in the playoffs, but I definitely think he can be that good regular season coach. And who knows? Maybe when he's not in Toronto, he can be a good playoff coach. But the thing is with Toronto is that you look at all these past couple of years, you look at all the games, they just seem to dry up when it comes to scoring. They'll score so much in the regular season. Matthews will get 70. I'm not just targeting Matthews because I know he was dealing with stuff the whole year. But you have an injured William Nylander, and he had 3 goals. He was tied for the team lead, and he missed 3 games. I don't understand. And they haven't scored more than 2 goals in I think it's 2. It might be 3. They haven't scored more than 2 goals, it's 3. They haven't scored more than 3 goals in a single playoff game since like game 2 of last year. You can't win that way. You simply can't. And whether it's Sheldon Keefe, whether it's a mental thing, whether it's just overall the players not being good, the players not showing up, players not having luck, you can't run this back. You simply can't. They need to make some changes. And that's why I think there's a good chance that tomorrow President Brendan Shanahan's going to get let go. There is a legitimate possibility that does happen. If it doesn't happen, I don't know if you see that in a core 4 move. And what you guys didn't talk about, it's not easy to move them either. It's not going to be easy at all. They have no movement clauses. They have no trade clauses. If you want to move him to, let's say, Chicago, Marner's got to waive his no move clause. Tavares has got to waive his no move clause. I don't know. So I want to ask you guys this question too. In terms of the other players on this team, who would you say is safe and who would you say is not safe to be traded or moved? I'm going to start off here by saying I think Matthews and Nylander are safe. I don't know about anyone else, though. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I would completely agree with you.
Carter?
There's no one else who's proven on that team who I think is safe. Honestly, like, are we talking like safe as far as like they're not going to try and get moved, or safe as in like they can't be moved?
They're not going to get moved. I don't think. They're not going to try to move.
Okay, then it's those two. But as far as like guys who I don't think would get traded, I don't think you're going to be able to move Ryan Reeves on his contract. I don't think you're going to be able to move John Tavares on his contract. I doubt you'll be able to move Morgan Riley on his contract. Like a lot of the guys that I don't think can get moved is just based on contract. But as far as players who won't get shopped, it's just Matthews.
That for me is the biggest thing when I look in terms of, this Maple Leafs team. Like, they're paying all these players so much money. Like, I mean, outside of the core 4 takes up like 40% of the cap for the Maple Leafs. That's the problem. That is the problem. I think, and we talked about it too. Me and Carter, I think we said it in an episode. I think episode 53 2 weeks ago. We said that Toronto has no depth. They don't have defense, and their goaltending isn't great. So I think honestly, if you move one of the core 4 guys, I think this team's going to get a lot better. I think they are. I feel like if you move the core 4, not only do you get guys back, but you make some room in the salary cap. I think you could sign some guys in the offseason to help out with secondary scoring. Maybe this team would be in a better spot. I don't know. So going back to coaching, who do you guys think is the most realistic head coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs position? What do you guys think?
Joe Quenneville.
Joe Quenneville's not even eligible to coach yet. He hasn't even.
No, he's not. No,
Jack's just stirring the pot.
Yep. Trying to make the controversy. Imagine if Quenneville went to the Leafs. Man, that would be.
And you know who he brings as his assistant?
Oh my God, who, bro?
Yeah, we know. We don't gotta say it. We just know.
Yeah. As well. Seriously though, who do you think is going to be named the head coach? Oh my God.
Berube.
Yeah, Berube. I think is the most
Yeah, I would agree.
He's got to be the guy when you're looking in terms of just the guys on the market. So my last question here: do you think, and I don't know if I should ask this, but do you think that if this team, let's say they move one of the core 4, do you think they're better or worse next year? It really depends, though. That's kind of what I'm thinking now.
I think regular season worse, playoffs better. If that makes any sense.
I don't know. It depends on who they bring in.
Yeah.
I think if they bring in someone good, I don't know.
They gotta. I feel like in order for them to be better, they have to make sure that they bring in some defense. Because I think that is their biggest lacking position, and they gotta address that. One thing they should also try and address is getting an actual number 1 goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
I think they address those two things. I think they're set.
That's the hardest thing to do. I've realized in the NHL, it's the hardest thing to go out and find a goalie. It's been one of the hardest things. I would say there's probably 7 or 8 teams right now that need a goalie. So one of my favorite teams being one of them. So I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But
I will say, I don't know if there's a better time to try and address this situation.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you look at it, you can get a former Vezina winner who won it last year. You could go after Linus Olmark in the offseason. You can go after UC Saros from Nashville because I think it's almost inevitable that they're going to bring in I can never remember his name.
Askarov,
that's what it is. They're going to bring in Askarov, so you could probably try and go after UC Saros. Like there's going to be some good goalies on the market here come the off season. So I think you got to try and beat the Devils to the punch. I think if you beat New Jersey to getting a goalie, I think you'll have your fair shot at whatever goalie you want.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that's all I got for Toronto. So we'll move into news and headlines here. We'll start out with the biggest thing. The draft lottery has concluded. The orders finalized. You have the San Jose Sharks selecting first overall. San Jose was the worst team in the NHL. Made a lot of sense. Jack's Chicago Blackhawks drafting second overall. You got Anaheim at third overall. Columbus at fourth overall. Followed by Montreal at fifth overall. And then the order is the rest is as follows. So obviously, not a surprise. I think San Jose deserves being that first overall pick. Thank God Chicago didn't get it. We didn't have to see the the Celebrini Bedard. I don't know if I could put myself through that, but very happy that we didn't have to deal with that. But regardless, I'm happy that San Jose won it. And we'll be doing our mock draft momentarily here. So as well as that too, we do have to talk about some other things. We have the Hart Trophy finalists. So Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Nikita Kucherov are the Hart Trophy finalists. These are the 3 players that we all had in our finalists. So we all did very good for ourselves. Good job, guys. So in terms of, we did that with, I think, like a week left in the season, a week or 2 left in the season. Who do you guys think is going to win the Hart Trophy at this point? Excluding playoffs, by the way.
I think it's going to be Kucherov.
Okay. Carter, what do you think?
Mac.
You guys are split. I could see any of these 3, but I don't think it's McDavid this year. I don't think McDavid. No. I think McDavid's had a great year, but I don't know if he's been as good.
The injury earlier in the year.
The injury kind of affected him a little bit, and then some other stuff he had midway through the year too. I gotta go with. I don't know. It could go to either of them. I'm gonna go with Nathan MacKinnon. If there's any year that he's gonna win, it's probably gonna be this year, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with MacKinnon for the Hart Trophy. There have been a few firings, hirings, and extensions. Rick Bowness. I don't know why I said Sheldon Keefe. Rick Bowness has retired as Jets coach. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to ask Carter. Carter, how do we feel about Bowness retiring, and who is going to be the next coach of the Winnipeg Jets?
We got to go out and find them. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's got to be someone who can help us in the playoffs.
True.
I don't have much to say, honestly. This came out as like kind of like a shell shock to me. I'm like, because I was scrolling through Instagram and it was like, oh, thank you, Rick Bowness. Thank you, Rick Bowness. Hockey's not going to be the same without you. I'm like, what do you mean hockey's not going to be the same without him? Like, we just fired him. Like, I genuinely thought that we fired him. And then I'm like, okay, I need to find out what happened. And then Friedman tweeted that he retired, and that was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, no one. I didn't even think that he was going to. I thought we had him for another like year. I didn't expect him to retire, honestly. And
I mean, he has been dealing with issues the whole year with his. Yeah, he was out for a little bit when he was dealing with. I think it was. I don't know if it was heart problems, but he was dealing with.
I thought it was his wife.
It might have been. It might have been as well. I don't know. He was dealing with some issues, where he had to step away from the team for a little bit. I think that being said, though, Scott Arniel, I think I'm saying his name right, the assistant coach. I think there's a good chance he might take over. Maybe I don't know if he gets the job, but I feel like when you're looking in terms of, like he came in and kind of interned for the team for a little bit, so I think it makes a lot of sense for him to at least get a potential spot in the interviews for Rick Bowness. But Carter, I know this is a short notice question, but if you were to hire any coach in the market right now, who would you hire to be the Winnipeg Jets coach?
I honestly have not thought about that, like literally at all.
Oh.
I'd want to give you an answer, but I genuinely have not paid much attention to hockey right now. Or like at least to the Winnipeg Jets. I paid attention to playoffs right now, but the Jets are in the offseason, and I don't think we're going to do any sort of signings or anything. So I haven't really paid much attention to the Jets or to any coaches in the market, honestly. I'd like Berube. I feel like he's a great coach. I don't know. I feel like we just need someone who can help us in the playoffs. And so like maybe someone who's a little bit more defensive minded too to help Hellebuck a little bit, take the load off him. So in an ideal world, it's a coach who's good in the playoffs and can make us a little bit more defensive.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Other coaches that have been hired, Travis Green is the head coach of the Ottawa Senators. He has been hired to a 4-year deal. You don't see that very often. I don't like this at all. I can't defend this. I try and stay in that gray area for a lot of my videos. I can't get behind this. I genuinely can't. Green has no experience. Well, he has experience, but he doesn't have any playoff experience. He coached some bad Canucks teams, yes, but never seemed to really, get off the ground. The only time he made the playoffs was in that bubble playoff year. So that was a huge thing. And I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of the Green hiring. We'll get more into that in the offseason. And last but not least, Drew Bannister has been extended as the head coach for the next 2 years. They have removed the interim tag from the Blues head coach. I don't hate the move. I like the move a lot. I think that in terms of when you look at overall with Bannister, he definitely turned the team around towards the end of the season. And I think that 100% he should deserve to be the coach. And we'll see if St. Louis makes it into the playoffs next year. But yeah, we'll see. We shall see. We are going to do our 2024 mock draft. But first, it is time for Jack's Guess a Player. It is week numero 5. Unfortunately, last week we actually won. Sorry, but it doesn't count because the episode got scrapped. So we got to start fresh.
Such a good job, too. We fucking killed it.
We killed Jack as well, yeah. And it was me and Carter. Me and Carter are up here. And it's week 5. We're 2-2. Let's see if we can get something going here. So, Jack, have you thought of your player?
I have.
Alrighty. Carter. Are you ready to go?
No, but I'm going to do it anyways. Jack, is your player in the Western Conference?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're gonna narrow down the division here. Jack, is your player in the Pacific Division?
No.
Okay, so we're looking at a Central Division team here. Pull up the Central Division real quick.
Only one Canadian team. Can't really go with that.
I don't know.
Okay, Jack, does your player play for a team that has some shade of blue in their logo? So that is going to be St. Louis, Colorado, Winnipeg, and believe it or not, Nashville. Little dark blue in there.
Nope.
Okay, well,
so we're looking at Dallas,
Minnesota, Arizona, Chicago. I'm trying to get creative with these questions. All right, I'm trying to have some fun.
I know Zach had really creative questions last episode. He was like the geography of the teams. I'm trying to think. Ooh.
That's green.
Jack, does your team have green in their logo?
Yes.
Dallas or Minnesota? I just spilled water all over me.
Whoa. Could also be Chicago, though. Don't.
Oh, you're right. And Arizona.
No, I don't think we'd count Arizona.
No, we wouldn't count.
He said it way too confidently.
We are not counting Arizona. I will give you that. We are not counting Arizona.
Okay, good.
But we're counting Chicago? You're such a fucking dick.
I'm not saying anything.
Fine. I'll waste the
all I said was that they have green in their logo.
All right, fine. Jack, does your player play on a team that didn't make the playoffs this year?
No.
Okay, it's Dallas.
Yes. Fuck you, Jack.
Oh, so I only have one
Don't ever
question.
troll me like that again, I swear.
So we only have one question. I guess I just got to go with...
Position?
Yeah, Jack, is your player a forward?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, final
Nord,
guess.
you got first guess here, buddy. You got first guess.
It's time.
I'm going to go with him. Jack, is your player Marco Rossi?
No.
Ah.
That's not Minnesota.
Not even the right fucking team, Nord! You fucking idiot!
No.
Oh my god! Nord fumble part 3, motherfuckers. God damn it!
Oh my god.
No way.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. You have gotta be kidding me.
Oh my god. Oh my god. No. No.
That's an all-time bad
Roll
beat.
the clip.
Minnesota.
I don't even
Achilles.
care that we're gonna fucking lose this week. You're an idiot, Nordic. I hope you know that. You're an idiot.
Carter,
You can save him right here, dude.
I can't.
Can I get a second guess, please?
No.
Please.
Don't give him a second guess, Jack. Let him bask in what he's fucking.
Why are you saying no? You're on my team.
I don't care. The clip is so much funnier. I want you to live with what you've done.
I think this is worse than Stolars.
I'm gonna get made fun of for this.
Oh my! No, this is worse than Stolars. This is worse than a Chili's. This is worse than anything that has ever happened.
It is not worse than Solars. No, I just made an error. Bro confidently said that a backup goalie's gonna win the Vezina Trophy.
You confidently said Marco Rossi with a smile on your face. Don't even.
I don't know. Okay, all right, Carter, make your guess, and if you
got
it
a
wrong,
1 out of 16 chance. 1 out of 16.
Fuck you! Don't be a dick.
Or 1 out of 12.
You know what the worst part is? Usually he'd give us position, but you're an idiot and guess the complete wrong team, so I don't even want the position. I want us to fucking fail.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna okay. He's not going Robo. All right, no chance. I don't think he's gonna go Pavelski. He hasn't really been a playoff performer. I like that one. Not gonna be Hintz. Could be him. Okay, I'm down to 2 players. And honestly, it's a coin toss. I don't have a coin. Actually, maybe I do.
Use your phone.
I don't want to flip my phone. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna write 2. Hang on. I have an idea. I'm gonna write 2 players on here. If it's either of them, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. Give me half a point. Give Nordic jack shit. Okay.
Okay.
Did you really say that you're not gonna flip your phone? You know Siri has flip a coin,
Use Siri,
right?
yeah.
But I like actually flip it. Oh fuck! I like actually flipping shit. Okay, here we go. We're flipping this. Okay, it fell off the table. Try again. Jack, I don't want to do that one. Jack, is your player Matt Duchene?
No.
Fuck. Is it Wyatt Johnson?
No, Jason Robertson.
Oh
no
fuck!
way.
You would go the popular pick. God damn it! You're such
I went
a
popular
loser.
this time.
That's unlike you. I don't like this.
I know it is unlike me, but I had to switch it up.
At least you went the right team, Carter.
Jack, can I ask you something? Is this because I did 6 straight days of flipping you off until you opened up one of my snaps?
Yes.
Nard, you have no idea. You have no. So Jack, I texted Jack. He finally opened all my snaps, and then he stopped. He stopped, and I'm like, okay, fuck you. So I decided to do snapping Jack every day until he opens one of my snaps or responds to something that isn't a face pic. And I did it for 7 straight days till he opened them.
He'll snap me, but it's always black screen. It's like Blackout Tuesday every. Oh my god! Damn, bro! Look at you again.
Do you see the other one I sent you though?
Oh yeah, the one up top.
One of you is Snoop. Oh my god, we
this one
like to
here.
have fun. Yeah, that
Oh my god.
guys, we like to
All
have
right.
fun here on the Nordcast. This is a podcast, not the TikTok. God damn it.
We like to guess wrong teams too when we're doing our fun little
Yeah,
game.
apparently.
Oh my god. All
God, I'm
right.
looking majestic in that Jack. Thank you.
Anywho, we have one more topic here in the fun and games. We got to swap over to Zoom, where we are going to do our second annual mock draft for the 2024 draft. We'll be right back. Achilles! Alrighty, welcome back. So we are doing our second annual NordCast mock draft. So we did one about a month ago, and it did very well in the YouTube end of things. Got about 2,000 views. Is one of the more popular videos in my YouTube channel's history. So we'd like to thank you all very much for that. But I'm here with the crew yet again. The draft lottery order has been finalized, and we got our picks here for this upcoming draft. So what's going to be a little bit different is when we did this about a month ago, we kind of showed like, we kind of said like, oh, who's the best player available. Now that we know the actual order, we can talk in terms of, oh, what does this team need necessarily? Does this team need a forward? Does this team need a defenseman? We can kind of talk about that much better now. So we have the previous order up here in case if you were wondering. I will link that at the top of the video. But regardless, we're going to get straight into it here. Carter has the first overall pick yet again, going to the San Jose Sharks. So Carter, who are you going to take if you're the San Jose Sharks here?
Well, I mean, I think if you kind of got to look at it at what does this team need, right? And ultimately, what this team needs, in my personal opinion, has got to be a player that you can rely on. It's got to be a player you can trust in and day out. And I feel like sometimes you got to drag it along a little bit. But ultimately, in my opinion, I think you got to take a goaltender here. I think it's hard to get a number one goalie. No, I'm kidding. It's Macklin Celebrini. Come on, I dragged this out for way too long. The only reason I dragged it out was because Tankathon doesn't have any fucking goalies in their top 60. But anyways, yeah, I'm taking Macklin Celebrini. BU. He's going to San Jose. It's a lock.
Yeah, I think that's a lock too. We had him in our first draft going there. I think it should be apparently very obvious that he should be going at that spot. I can't see a world where he doesn't go there. It'd be very shocking. It makes the San Jose Sharks future substantially brighter. So we're going to turn to the Chicago Blackhawks here at second overall. Jack is a Blackhawks fan, and he has the second overall pick here. So, Jack, who are you taking?
I'm going to go Ivan Demidov out of the KHL.
All right. I like Demidov a lot. I think Demidov, whether he's centering or on the wing to Bedard, I think that 100% they're going to be a work of a force of nature. Absolutely. I think even without Celebrini, like if they got Celebrini, they would be absolutely unbelievable. But even with Demidov, I'm very okay with that. With him going at that spot. No changes so far, though. We had Demidov at the same spot last draft. Third overall, Anaheim Ducks. I think when you look in terms of what Anaheim needs, they need a right shot defenseman. They just lost Jamie Drysdale to Philadelphia. I think you got to go with Artem Levshunov again from Michigan State. Had an unbelievable year there with them. I think you'd be stupid not to go with Levshunov here at third overall going to Anaheim. That makes that team absolutely insane. So moving on now to fourth overall with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Carter, who are you going to take here at this third overall selection?
So one thing that, I've kind of started to look at is kind of the prospects that Columbus has, because I do pay attention to comments sometimes. And one thing Aaron was saying was that Columbus does actually have some decent defensemen kind of in their pipeline there. Like, they still have David Yurchek, Uric. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's some sort of name like that. So they still have him. They also still have Werenski, who's got 5 years. He's a little injury prone, but that's okay. Damian Severson, who still has 8 years left on his deal. Provorov has 2 years left. So I don't think I'm gonna go defenseman here.
Ooh.
I think I'm gonna switch it up. I am going to take Cole Iserman out of the USNDP.
Wow.
So one thing I have done is I have done a lot of looking at Cole Iserman's game. I think compared to what everyone was saying about him from the start of the year, I think he started to address that a little bit more, kind of come to the end of this year, and he's proven it. He's breaking Cole Caulfield's goal record, I'm pretty sure. And like I know that Cole Caulfield is not a top end player, but he's still very elite. And I think getting an elite player, even at fourth overall, is definitely unreal. So I'm going to take Cole Iserman there to the Columbus Blue Jackets and switch things up.
I like that pick. There have been talks of him drafting as low or dropping as low as like 11th or 12th overall. That would be unbelievable if the Flyers got him first off. As a Flyers fan, I'd be pretty stoked. But I I like that pick. I think that pick is very interesting when you're looking in terms of, Yzerman. He definitely broke Caulfield's goal record. He has a knack for scoring goals. He definitely has addressed the issues. I feel like people are doubting him a little bit, but I like the bold move of putting him at fourth. That's kind of a bold move at this point. So going fifth overall to the Montreal Canadiens, Jack, who are you taking at fifth overall? I would like to say that there were a lot of Habs fans who commented on our video, our first mock draft, saying that if the Habs pass on Caden Lidstrom, they would be stupid. So keep that in mind when you make your pick here.
That's exactly who I'm taking. I'm taking Caden Lindstrom at number 5 overall, moving up one spot? Yeah.
Yes, moving up one spot. He was going to be drafted by Arizona originally, I think, because Arizona had yeah. So originally that was what it was going to be. I actually kind of forgot to put the Utah logo in there. I apologize for that. But regardless, Caden Lindstrom, I think, again, Montreal would be stupid to not go for him 100%. And I do think that Lidstrom would be an awesome pick there. They definitely need forwards for sure. Even it's weird that it's a defensive draft and they're going for a forward. It's kind of funny, but regardless, Caden Lidstrom there at fifth overall. So far we've had two changes. Iserman's risen up one spot. Lidstrom's dropped one spot. So we've had guys kind of swap positions here a little bit. So keep that in mind. Sixth overall, going to Utah. I know I have Arizona up there. I apologize. I completely forgot about that. But I think in terms when you're looking at defensemen, you got to go with Z Bouillon. I think, why isn't it bold? I think that honestly, when you're looking in terms of guys that are available, Bouillon was like really rose up the rankings in this last month. We had him 10th overall to the New Jersey Devils. If he drops to 10th, that is criminal. I think that my God, Utah would be stupid to pass up on a guy like Bouillon. And I think that 100% he is going to be a steal there at 6th overall for the Utah team. So going back to Ottawa here, we're going back to Carter. Carter, who are you going to take at the 7th overall pick?
There's been a lot of shaking up lately.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to stick with it here. We are going to end up going Sam Dickinson is going to go to Ottawa. I kind of regretted that not giving them a defenseman last time. And I think that grabbing a guy like Sam Dickinson is definitely a guy that I would love to see in a Sens uniform. So, yeah.
I like that. Sam Dickinson has my last name, so wherever he's going to go, I'm going to buy a jersey for him. I'm going to follow him throughout the league. So, Ottawa needs defensemen. I think Dickinson would be a great choice. But above all, I love that pick there for the Ottawa Senators. Moving into 8th overall with Jack's pick, the Seattle Kraken. Jack, who's Seattle going to take?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the defenseman like we did in the previous mock draft. But this time I'm gonna go Zane Park.
All right, I like that too. Perrick has been probably one of the more underrated guys in this draft class. I think that he gets really underrated here a little bit, and I think that should not go unnoticed here whatsoever. But yeah, I like Perrick there at that 8th overall pick. 9th overall, I think you got to go with him. I think you guys know who I'm going to say here. His father played for the Calgary Flames. We've actually seen him rise up the rankings here a lot recently in these draft rankings. I've seen him be picked as high as 5 in some of these rankings. But you got to go with Tisha Ginla. I think that honestly, if he's there for Calgary at 9, I think there's a very good chance that he goes to the Flames. Not even because his father played for Calgary, but I just think that when you're looking in terms of, the overall talent in this forward core. There's some good forwards available still on the board, like Berkeley Catton. But honestly, I think that Calgary has to go with TJ Ginla. Honest, I feel like they have to. So moving into 10th overall now to the New Jersey Devils. Carter, who's going 10th overall to the Devils?
So this was the guy I wanted to grab last time before Jack decided, or no, you decided to steal him, I think, right?
I
Yeah.
think it might have been me.
Yeah, it was you. I am going to take Anton Silyev. I think you need some size on that blue line there for the New Jersey Devils. I think that they're set on forwards. I think you build up that decor, help whatever goaltender you get, give them a really good situation to come into. I really like Anton Silyev, so I'm gonna say Anton Silyev from the KHL is gonna go to the New Jersey Devils.
I like that pick a lot. I am a huge fan of that selection. I think that Silyev has been he's freaking massive, by the way. He's like 6'8", so he's a big boy. And I think that you add him to that Devils defense, which is already stacked. Oh man. Oh man, that would be one hell of a core for the New Jersey Devils there. So I am in love with that for sure. 11th overall to the Buffalo Sabres. We'll go back to Jack here. Jack, who are you going to take at this 11th overall selection?
Yeah, number 11, I have Consta Hellenius. Is that how you say it? Hellenius. I have him moving up to number 11 overall in Buffalo.
I like that. I like that a lot. Hellenis is a guy who's playing with men in that state of Finland. I'm a big fan of that pick. So me and Carter, like we did last time, I think we're going to take the Philadelphia pick together since we're both Flyers fans. Carter, we see some notable guys on the board. Carter Yakimchuk, Liam Greentree, Trevor Connolly, but Berkeley Catton is still on the board here. Berkeley Catton's still here. I know we might want to go with the defenseman, but Berkeley Catton's on the board. Who are we thinking, Carter?
I have no idea. This is definitely a tough pick. I know we said last time,
Picked
like when we
Tisha
recorded
Ginla.
on episode 51, we did say Tisha Ginla. I know he's been taken. But I know one thing we did say was if there is a top 5, 6 defenseman on the board here at 12, I think you have to take them. I think you got to go defenseman early. It's hard to get an elite defensive class, especially now. 71 points for a defenseman is unreal. 30 goals in 66 games is also unreal for Carter Yakimchuk. So my vote would be for Yakimchuk, but if you want to go Berkeley,
No,
I am okay with that as well.
I'm with you. I'm going Yakimchuk. It is rare to this is a really good defensive draft class, and the biggest issue for Philadelphia in the last couple of years has been defense. So I think it's the best idea for the Rangers. I have the Rangers game on, that's why. For the Flyers to go with this 12th overall pick and Yakimchuk, especially to a right shot defenseman. Those guys are hard to come by. And Jamie Drysdale, we just got a right shot defenseman. Adding Yakimchuk could really help out with that defensive core overall. You want to really strengthen that. So Yakimchuk, Calgary Hitman, I like that pick a lot. So we're moving into the last 4 picks. Jack, you got the Minnesota Wild at 13th overall. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I have Adam Yurchek moving up to
Ooh.
go number 13 overall with the Wild.
Ooh, wow. Okay. That's an interesting pick. Juracek was injured for a lot of the season. I definitely think that's kind of a hot take, but I like it. I think
I know.
Juracek could go that high potentially. It's a little bit of a risk for Minnesota, but obviously we'll see. Carter's blown away by that. But yeah, moving into 14th overall. You got some notable players on the board. You got Trevor Connolly, Liam Greentree, Berkeley Catton. Obviously, if you wanted to go off the board too, you could. So, Carter, who are you thinking here?
I am fucking shocked that he has fallen this far. Um, this is going to be a scary forward core if this plays out exactly how it is. Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, Colin Graff?
Colin Graff, yes.
Colin Graff. And with the 14th pick, they're going to go Berkeley Catton.
That's what I've been
Um,
wondering. He's been dropping significantly down this list. He was 7th overall in our one that we did last month. So, I
I'm
mean,
shocked. I'm shocked to be honest with you. I think getting Berkeley Canton here is just ridiculous. Like he didn't he had a good season. I don't know why he's like in all the things I've seen, he has been dropping a lot, which honestly like doesn't make too much sense to me. He had 116 points, 54 goals. Like he's a great player. He had 10 points in the U18 Hlinka Gretzky Cup. Like he played really well. So I don't know where all this droppings kind of come from. I don't know if maybe they're seeing something that I'm not, but I think that this is a steal for the San Jose Sharks.
I'm with you. I think honestly, when I'm looking in terms of, there have been guys that have risen up a lot in value. I like how um Zeev Buium rose up in our draft rankings. We got Tisha Ginla who rose up pretty significantly. Consta Helenius rose up. There were some guys that got up pretty high in the rankings. Cadden was the one to drop, but I'm shocked that he's going at the 14th overall pick. So yeah, I like that a lot. So that's Carter's last pick. Carter's officially done. For our 15th overall pick going to the Detroit Red Wings. Excuse me. 15th overall, I think I'm gonna go with. So I got Liam Greentree, Trevor Connolly as options there. I can go off the board if I want to. I think I'm gonna go with him. I think I'm gonna go with that. I think it's Michael Brandseg. Carter, you have it pulled up, right? What's his name?
Something like that.
Who is it? Michael.
Michael Brandseg. It's like Mich
Oh,
Brand.
Michael Brandseg Nygaard.
Yes. What's his position? He's a forward, right?
Yeah, forward for Mora IK in the Norway League. Maybe I don't actually know. Yeah, I honestly don't know too much about him. In the Junior 20 League, he had 12 points through 7 games with 5 goals. In Hockey Allsvenskan, I'm assuming that's probably their adult league. He had 18 points through 41 games. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
not a
I,
bad pick.
I wanted to go off the board here a little bit. I think Nygaard's risen up a little bit in some of the rankings. I'm doing that in part because I'm not a huge fan of Liam Greentree or Trevor Connolly. Greentree I feel like is a really cocky player. I think that Detroit might try and stray away from that a little bit and go with someone like Nygaard. Not a bad pick. I like it a lot. Jack, with the final pick in the mock draft number 2, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Liam Greentree out of Windsor at number 16 to the Blues.
Alrighty, I like that a lot. I know Greentree, I said he has personal issues. Doesn't mean he's a bad player whatsoever. But he does have some personality issues. He thinks he's a little bit too cocky, but not against that. I like that pick. So that is our final mock draft there. First overall, Celebrini. Second overall, Ivan Demidov. Third overall, Artem Levshinov. Fourth overall, Cole Iserman. Fifth overall, Caden Lidstrom. So moving into the changes here, I think Iserman rose up one spot. Caden Lidstrom rose up one spot. Buium rose up, I think, 4 spots. Sam Dickinson, I think, dropped 3 spots. Perrick, I think, moved up a little bit too. Actually, no, I stayed at the same spot. Aginla rose up by 3 spots. Siliev actually dropped a spot. And then you have Helenius, who rose up, I think, 2 spots. Yakimchuk, who I think actually dropped a little bit. Juracek, who rose. Cadden, who took a significant drop. Nygaard wasn't even on the board in our last draft. And then Liam Greentree also dropped as well. So most notably, Trevor Connolly drops out of our top 15 or top 16. So something to keep in mind there when you're looking in terms of this. I don't think Connolly's a bad player, but I think there's a lot of talent in this draft. Is it as good as last year? No, but I definitely think that it still is a pretty solid draft. So yeah, that is our 2024 mock draft, number 2. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this overall podcast. Thank you all for listening or watching the NordCast episode number 54. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. If you're on the audio end of things, be sure to obviously give us a good review. Tell your friends. If you'd like to follow the Instagram, follow at NordCast_. If you want to follow the TikTok, follow at NordCast. And yeah, that's all we got. There's a good chance that heading into next week, we could be in the third round of the playoffs. So we'll see. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.